And the first down is at the 7 of the BC Lions. Currently, the Lions lead 14-0 on 2 quick touchdowns. But the Argos have a pretty good opportunity to get one back right here. Ham unloaded in a hurry, looking for Robert Clark, number 89.
Tracy's complaining of once again the contact with Andre Francis and Robert Clark, but Francis gave him just enough of a bump as he was getting into his pattern. Watch the bump right there. Right there, a little nudge, and that just throws Clark off enough that he can't get to that football. Now, is that interference or not? That's a real tough judgment call.
And the judgment there was no call, no penalty.
He said we can't give him 2 flags in a row here. He's got a reputation.
2nd and goal, Argos at the BC 7. Ham can't find a receiver, but the end zone is wide open, and Ham has the speed to get there. 7-yard touchdown. Tracy Ham answers in a hurry. First time he's had his hands on the football in some time, and Ham engineers a pretty good drive.
And it's interesting to see the difference between Mike Kerrigan and Tracy Ham. Now there's nothing available. Here's what Tracy Ham is so good at, improvising, and watch as he outruns O.J. Brigance, cuts in underneath Footy, and he's into the end zone of the Argonauts with a much-needed answer, a touchdown of their own.
Tracy Ham in relief of Mike Kerrigan. It was the other way around earlier this season, but Kerrigan is in the dressing room, and Tracy Ham has the Argos on the scoreboard. Ham does it himself, and it's 14-7. From Vancouver, CFL Live. Three touchdowns in the opening quarter, and there's still 2 minutes 46 seconds to play. The Argos answering at least one BC touchdown in 10 plays to cover 72 yards, and Tracy Ham, number 1, got it done.
Yeah, a tremendous confidence builder for not only him but the entire offense, and even more importantly than that, they have had problems this year tiring out their own defense with the ineffectiveness of the run and shoot offense. But on that drive, it allowed the defense to sit on the sidelines. They've given up 14 points, have a little rest, and probably come out with some renewed vigor here on the BC Lions' 3rd possession.
Dennis Meyer obviously breathing a little bit easier. He's still down by a touchdown, but it looked pretty bleak when the Lions scored in their first 2 possessions. And his number 1 quarterback went down, but Tracy Ham got to the end zone the first time he got his hands on the football. The Argos' first possession. Kickoff is whistled down. Argos in BC tonight trying to end a 12-game losing streak on the road. They lost 8 in a row going back to last year until winning last week over Sacramento. Dennis Meyer doesn't understand why his team is re-kicking here.
Well, I don't think Wayne Lamley waited for the official signal there, and he's pretty excited tonight getting to play. He wanted to get going.
At the 15-yard line, Corey Philpott takes out for the BC Lions. And again, the Lions will have superb field position out near the 40.
So this becomes the game within a game now for Danny Barrett. Everything's gone his way. 2 possessions, 2 scoring drives, but Toronto has answered. So now it's imperative for him once again to try and retake control of this game and tire out that Toronto defense. And for them, you know, the challenge is there to stop Danny Barrett, who's been on quite a roll here.
Great numbers for Barrett so far. And he's had good field position. Philpott sets the Lions up at the 40 with a 25-yard return. Clark and Trevathan to the near side, along with Flutie. Barrett fakes to Philpott, a little screen toss to Sean Millington. This worked for a touchdown earlier. Millington cut from behind, lost the ball. Trevathan, touchdown! to call that an Argo bounce.
Well, a great run by Millington again on the screen. They've been effective with this play. 1 touchdown and now another. Kind of an unusual way to get it. I believe Darren Hughes, actually Jonathan Wilson slaps that ball loose. Trevathan picks it up, and 3 possessions, 3 touchdowns for the BC Lions.
A 70-yard touchdown. That's the second 70-yard touchdown of the night for the BC Lions. Millington did it all by himself the first time. He needed help from Trevathan the second time.
Yeah, and he gets an assist this time. Yeah. A little kind of fumble and up. But one of the things that Joe Palpau, their offensive coordinator, told me they would really like to do tonight is screen the football against Toronto. There's Millington lined up in the slot. You got 3 receivers clearing out. He'll just kind of sit in there, and you'll see this play develop. He'll take and bite the defensive lineman upfield and then dump off the screen. There's a little fake block on Warren. Now he's got lineman out in front. Look at this. It's a convoy. The middle once again opens up, but against a team that likes to run his own defense like Toronto does, this is one of the perfect plays against it.
Pretty good move by Jonathan Wilson, number 9 for the Argos, to knock the ball loose, but then it bounced right to Mike Trevathan. McCurdy steps out. Decent field position for the Argos on a short kickoff. Quickly, they're down by 2 touchdowns once more. And we'll see what Tracy Ham can do to respond here.
And John, you know, the pressure builds even more for Tracy Ham and his offense, because they have to be thinking, how many points are BC going to score tonight, and how many are we going to have to score to try and stay in this game? So each series now becomes even more important for the Toronto offense.
21 points a quarter if they keep this up.
Yeah, I don't like the projection on that one.
First down, Ham and the Argos. Time to throw this time. Wide open. He'll have a first down. Robert Clark gets inside BC territory around the 47.
Robert Clark has turned into a very fine receiver for the Argonauts. Probably their most dependable outside of Paul Mazzotti when he was healthy. But there he just comes down, finds the open spot when BC decides to play his own coverage, which is very seldom. But good job to stay in there and be a good target for Tracy Ham.
14 yards, first down Argos. At the 47 of BC. Pressure on Ham, he got away. Can he get the pass away? Near side, yes. Zatilny makes the catch and slid back a couple of yards, so he'll be short of the first down.
Bad news for the Toronto offense. The word from the Argo dressing room, Mike Kerrigan, broken collarbone, 4 to 6 weeks.
Ooh, that's tough. Tough on Mike, based on the kind of year he was having and what he was able to do with this Argo offense. So Tracy Ham is number 1 for a while, and Ham has looked pretty sharp here since taking over for Kerrigan. 2nd and 2, and Ham gets the first down to the 35. Jackson was there to make the stop. Tracy Ham had been prepared to spend his 3rd game on the sidelines tonight. And looking back to last year, he was the number 1 efficiency passer in the Canadian Football League when he was with the Eskimos. But he's got the job back tonight due to the injury to Mike Kerrigan. Caught from behind on first down. Derek McCready, number 79. Solid play to end the opening quarter for the BC Lions defense. Lions having a field day so far and lead the Argos 21-7 from Vancouver, CFL Live. It's a fun night for BC Lion fans at the stadium at BC Place. Lions lead it 21-7, 3 touchdowns in the opening quarter, 3 big play touchdowns for the BC Lions. Second quarter about to begin. Tracy Ham and the Argos, 2nd and 12 at the BC 37. Ham has McAdoo. McAdoo can't bring it home. Foodie was covering on Derek McAdoo. Boy, the numbers certainly impressive for the BC Lions in the opening quarter. Projected through 4 quarters, that would be a lot of offense. Time of possession interesting though, Leaf, with the Lions scoring quickly. The Argos engineered one rather impressive drive.
And 2 plays of that were what, 140 yards on screen plays?
Yeah.
Not too shabby.
This Argo drive ends at the 37. Cue Lance Chomick. On target, so the Argos have 3 more on a long field goal by Lance Chomick.
And I guess the question now, John, becomes when will the Argonaut defense stop this BC Lion offense? 3 possessions, 3 touchdowns, and of great concern to Dennis Meyer has to be, hey, what happened to our defense tonight? Look at this.
Lance Chomick, a 44-yard field goal, and here's what the Lions have done. Beginning at the 40, the 50, and at the 40. Touchdown, touchdown, touchdown.
I think the most impressive thing there is 12 plays, 3 touchdowns. I mean, that is unbelievable production. And Dave Ritchie, you know, he said, John mentioned it earlier, what we'd like to do is keep our defense off the field tonight. And so far they've done a pretty good job of that, although they've done it in pretty quick fashion.
Yeah, the defense has spent some time on the field despite the 21 points. Second quarter just nicely underway. Lance Chomick began it with a 44-yard field goal for the Argos. 21-10 the score. The Lions rather comfortable right now. Philpott out to the 32. Stopped by Brian McCurdy.
This man, Arnie Williams, just got a long talking to by Argo head coach Dennis Meyer. Arnie Williams, the middle linebacker, his responsibility is to take care of the screen pass. Thus far, he's been unable to do that, so they've been getting a little tutoring on the sidelines on how to get it done.
He better learn fast.
Yeah.
I got a feeling he's going to see it again.
Absolutely right. First and 10 for the explosive BC Lions. Beginning at the 30. Barrett couldn't connect with Ray Alexander, number 88. Reggie Pleasant was covering on Alexander, and Pleasant is the only member of the Argonaut secondary to start 7 straight games this season.
Well, they have had their problems with injuries and so forth, but Reggie Pleasant, as he has been throughout his entire Toronto Argonaut career, one of the better corners in the league, no question about that.
At the other corner tonight, Darren Hughes, number 27, making his second start at the corner, but last week he was playing halfback. Charge was on. Barrett read it and found Darren Flutie. Good play to get the Lions out across the 50. 18 yards.
This is a desirable matchup for the BC Lions when they bring Flutie into the slot. He was matched up on Dave Van Bellingham, the middle safety, in the blitz coverage, and it really was a mismatch. Flutie beat him to the outside, and on 2nd and 10 situation, and Danny Barrett's able to pick up the first down. His offensive line, that veteran group, what a job they did picking up the stunts and the blitz on that last pass play.
Number 16, Spencer McLennan, in at one wide receiver spot for the Lions. This is whistled down with a marker dropped right at the line of scrimmage. Things opened up for Danny Barrett, not noted as a running quarterback often these days. Procedure call.
Down repeated.
Jim Mills, number 66. Moved a little early. Barrett 7 of 9 for 181. From the shotgun this time for Danny Barrett. Alexander far side, and he brings it in. Ray Alexander. And they're working on number 27, Darren Hughes.
And they're doing it with a 5-pack offense now. They bring in Spencer McLennan, 16, spread everybody out across the field, and they've got some pretty nice one-on-one matchups. One of them, of course, Ray Alexander against Darren Hughes, and that is a tremendous cast to the outside. And hey, I don't know what Toronto has to do to try and stop BC. They are just on an absolute roll. Toronto's tried to blitz them. They haven't been able to get there. They've stayed back in the zone. Barrett's picked it apart. Those were projected numbers for the season that Ray Alexander might have.
After a big gain, a little screen pass didn't quite work out as well that time. Barrett to Chris Skinner. Harding kind of messed it up.
Well, the two defensive tackles, Rodney Harding and Harold Hallman, now both have to be really looking for and reading for the screen, and that time Harding did it and was on all over Skinner just as he caught the ball.
Loss of 2. 2nd and 12 for the Lions. Now at the Argo 45, 11:40 to go, second quarter. Early movement, and again the play is whistled down. I think Jonathan Wilson, coming on the blitz, mistimed it a little bit and was offside.
Well, one of the things that Toronto obviously is going to do to try and change the rhythm of Danny Barrett is to change up in the blitz scheme. There's Jonathan Wilson coming. Unfortunately, he just tries to get a jump on it. He's offside, but you know, that's Toronto's trying to battle back with some different defensive schemes to do something to upset Danny Barrett's rhythm here.
Lions lead it 21-10. 2nd and 7, BC now at the Argo 40. McLennan, the intended receiver. Darren Hughes in on the tackle and the coverage.
Hey, guess what? BC has to give up the football. First time tonight.
Without scoring.
Well, they still may score.
Yeah, that's right. They have an opportunity here with Lou Pasaglia into the game. Pasaglia good on 12 of 17, or 70% of his field goal tries this season. This one spotted at the 46. No problem, Louis. Lions grab 3 more. It's 24-10 BC. From BC Place, CFL Live.
Wally World is back in the CFL as Wally Zatilny is back as a starter, replacing the injured Paul Mazzotti. Wally gave us an idea of what kind of player he is.
I just want to play mistake-free football. You know, I just want to get my patterns done properly, make the right reads. I mean, the offense that we have, you have to make the right reads in order to be successful. So for me to be successful and for the team to be successful, I've got to be able to make the right reads and catch the ball when it's thrown to me. Just got to concentrate. I mean, I know I can do it. I've done it before. So it's just now it's just time to do it here in Toronto.
Hard to catch Wally Zatilny without a smile on his face, isn't it?
Fun-loving guy and terrific guy. Good opportunity for him. He gets to replace Paul Mazzotti, who is out with the knee injury. But for Wally, a nice chance to play and show what he can do. I've always felt that in Toronto's scheme, he would be a great 5th receiver when Mazzotti comes back. Bring him in situations, move him all across the field, play him at slot, play him at wide, bring him out of the backfield, and now he's getting a chance to play.
Robert Clark comes to the near side for the Argos on 1st and 10. Toronto beginning at the 35, and this is Tracy Ham at the controls. Zatilny should have made the catch there.
Wally Zatilny's been running a lot of the underneath patterns tonight where the 2 inside receivers clear out for him, and he comes underneath. He's caught a few on it. There you see him sliding underneath. He's wide open, but the ball a little low, and he just could not hang on to it.
2nd and 10, Toronto at the 35. 10:18 to go till halftime, with the Lions in front, 24-10. Pressure on Ham, he got it away and found Clark. That'll be good for a first down. Robert Clark stopped by Andre Francis, number 1. 12 yards to gain. Good pattern.
Seems to be the matchup Toronto wants tonight. Robert Clark on Andre Francis, and watch the move up to the outside, and as he cuts underneath, he gets Francis turned around. A bit of a rub off with the inside receiver, and Robert Clark makes the catch, gets the first down. And you know, for Toronto, each series now is so important the way the defense is giving up points. His numbers last week in their first win of the season over Sacramento, and down the stretch in that game, he made some key catches to keep possession of the ball and keep it away from Sacramento when the game was getting a little dicey.
Clark on target for another pretty good night. 3 catches, 50 yards. The injured Argo is Francois Boulanger. Number 63, the starting left guard, being attended to by the Argo medical staff. We'll take a timeout and return to CFL Live at the stadium at BC Place.
Here's the standings in the Western Division. The Calgary Stampeders leading the way with no surprise there. What's intriguing is 4th place, because now, as a result of the vote taken by the CFL Players Association, the top 4 teams in the Western Division will make the playoffs. The Calgary Stampeders aren't happy about it. This has happened before. In the mid-1980s, the league put in a rule that if the 4th place team in the West had a better record than the 3rd place team in the East, then 4 teams from the West would make it. It happened only once, in 1986. The irony? The 4th place team that year was the Calgary Stampeders. Guys?
Stamps are talking about taking legal action in that 4-team Western playoff format. I would like your reaction to that before I offer mine.
Well, I don't like their chances taking legal action, but I'll be honest. My stand on this whole issue is that there should only be 3 teams making the playoffs in the West. Why in the world do you have 3 in the East make it and 4 in the West? To me, it doesn't make sense. I think the Stampeders have a bit of a gripe. I think they should be rewarded for a first-place finish, if in fact that's where they finish.
I think it's a little presumptuous of the Stampeders to be assuring themselves first place in the Western Division at this stage.
That's true, but the issue is, should there be 3 or 4 teams? I think there should be 3.
I think there should be 3 as well. I agree with that point completely. And I don't think the Canadian Football League overall has handled this situation very well, because not 6 weeks into the season, that is not the time to be announcing your playoff format. However, I'm sure there will be other developments. Meantime, it is first down for the Argos. Ham is surrounded. Brigance was there again. Darryl Harley in for Francois Boulanger. And there was a big leak along the offensive line as soon as Boulanger hit the sidelines. Loss of 8 yards.
Well, it seems like every week the Toronto Argonauts have had problems with an injury on their offensive line. Chris Schultz apparently is getting better. He's in the rehabilitation stage, and he should be back within a few weeks. Obviously good news for the Toronto Argonauts.
Robert Clark to the near side. This is second down and a bunch. Ham has time this time. Escapes the early pressure, throwing on the run. The pinball, Mike Clemens was the intended receiver. And he was a little overthrown. First pass in his direction tonight.
I think first time that he's been in on offense tonight, and it has to make you wonder what the long-term plans are for Mike Clemens in this scheme of things. Kari Lirenko on O.J. Brigance, and maybe that's the only way you're going to slow O.J. Brigance down. The CFL League sack leader is to grab him up around the neck and throw him to the ground.
Third and 18. Lamely gets the punt away. He's in for Ilisic, who's home nursing an injured hip. Philpott, not much of a return. He's near the 30. So well covered by the Argos special teams. Ryan McCurdy, number 16, leading the tacklers that time. Pretty good story so far. And Dan Barrett's return to the BC Lions. 3 touchdowns, Then he settled for a field goal on his first 4 possessions. 203 yards.
So the question really does become when and can the Toronto Argonauts defense slow this BC Lion offense down?
Lions are 1st and 10 at the BC 30. 3 receivers to the near side. Sean Millington got the call. He scored a touchdown earlier on a 70-yard screen pass and then assisted on one, a similar play that Mike Trevathan carried into the end zone after Millington fumbled. -2 on that carry. 7:54 to the half with the Lions in front 24-10. Alexander near side. Darren Flutie to the far side of the field. Barrett. Alexander. Almost a great catch. Reggie Pleasant was covering. Alexander got in behind, but couldn't quite bring it down. Now Alexander is talking with an official who was watching that play.
Well, when the ball was in the air, Reggie Pleasant grabbed Alexander just before the end of that replay you see there. There's the contact initially, and I think Reggie Pleasant got away with one there. Alexander could not hang on to the football, but no question, there was contact previous to the catch, to the attempted catch.
So on 3rd down, enter Lou Pasaglia.
And they stopped him.
They have stopped him this time. Pasaglia standing back at his 15. Big charge. Pasaglia can't get it away. The Argos coming up with the football. Manny Hazard, number 81. Pressure on Pasaglia. There was a little leak there, and he couldn't get the punt away. So the Argos get the football in great position when we return. From Vancouver, CFL Live.
You won't believe it. O.J. Brigance is the up back right here. Now he has to make a choice. Manny Hazard is going to come right up through there. Brigance moves that way. And as you'll see this play unfold, Brigance does not make the right choice. And Manny Hazard is in there. He didn't block the punt, but he created the turnover. And you know, for an up back or personal protector, you'll see it again. You have to protect the middle first and then work to the outside. Brigance made the wrong choice. The BC Lions turn the ball over.
Argos with superb field position at the Lion 27.
Rule of thumb, when you're protecting for a kick, block from inside out. BC Lions didn't do that for Lou Pasaglia.
Stay with us at halftime. Highlights from Week 5, a sports update including the PGA Championship. Richard Zokol of Marine Drive in Vancouver is in the hunt there. And the story of the game with Leaf.
Dick Zokol, a nice 5-under round today.
Yeah.
Well, there's O.J. Brigance. So when he sees that film tomorrow, it's going to be plain as day that he made the wrong block.
The wrong choice that time, O.J.
Yes.
Ham and the Argos first down. Caught from behind. Derek McCready, number 79. He's having a pretty good night.
You know, it's interesting, for as poorly as the Toronto defense has played here in the first half, giving up 24 points, you know, they only trail by 14 with a tremendous opportunity to close the gap down to 7 here. And so the Argonauts are actually in pretty decent shape. Nice play by McCready to run down Ham from behind.
6:28 till halftime. Zatilny goes to the far side as the wideout. And the near side, number 89, Robert Clark. 2nd and 11. Ham gets pressure again. Looking to throw on the run. Jump ball. And I think we've got a catch, yes. Robert Clark. Good concentration by Clark because that was tipped.
Nice job by Robert Clark to go up and fight for this football. He screens off Francis from behind, and although the ball bounces around, watch the concentration. Is he able to stay with it and make yet another key catch?
His 5th. for 63 yards. That play for 13. 1st and 10 Argos. Now at the BC 15. Ham, a little option play. Dipsy doodle, touchdown. yards. Tracy Ham gets the Argos right back in this one.
So the Argonauts are right back in this football game. Watch the move here on Sean Foodie. A little fake to the outside. And there he goes. No contest. Tracy Ham, touchdown. The Argonauts are back in this one.
He really froze Sean Foodie in his tracks, didn't he? Ham has done a lot with his running so far to get the Argos back into the game. It's been a tough night on both teams. The Argos have lost Mike Kerrigan and Francois Boulanger. This looks to be the first serious injury for the BC Lions. And unfortunately, it looks like a knee problem.
One of the keys to the option is to option the end man on the line of scrimmage. That is Keith Poe. He goes with the running back. Clemens out there, so Ham takes it up the middle. Let it run a little farther. Then we're going to show you what Sean Foodie is faced with. Hey, okay, stop it here. Here's Foodie. Little fake to the outside, right up there, and that's a tough task for Foodie to stop Ham down near the goal line.
You learn that move in high school, don't you?
Wow.
One way, head back.
Give him a little shake and bake and get the touchdown. But two keys there. You option the defensive end, Keith Poe, and really for Keith Poe, he cannot make the right play. If he goes to Tracy Ham, Ham will pitch it to the back, and he's wide open. Poe goes to the back, Ham cuts it up, gets the touchdown, and boy, all of a sudden, the Toronto Argonauts very quietly in the second quarter here have come back into this game nicely.
Tracy Ham, 6 carries for 24 yards. He has 2 touchdowns. And the Argos trail 24-16. Pending Chomek's converts. Now a 7-point game.
It's interesting, John, with the injury to Mike Kerrigan tonight, to see the real differences between the two quarterbacks, Tracy Ham and Mike Kerrigan. Kerrigan on the first couple of possessions, content to stand tall in the pocket and throw strikes. Tracy Ham, the rollout style, more effective now for him, and his running ability really has been able to get Toronto back into this one.
27 yards in 3 plays in a minute 41, and Tracy himself carried into the end zone. There was a penalty marker down on Chomek's first convert attempt, so they kicked it again.
Here's the update from the Toronto sideline. First of all, Tracy Ham is fine. Took a little shot in the lower stomach area, but he feels all right. Francois Boulanger, on the other hand, he's in a great deal of pain on the Argos sideline, so much so, in fact, that they couldn't examine him. They believe his knee brace may have saved him from serious damage. However, they suspect he might have a broken lower leg.
(24-17). Lions leading the Argos. 7-point game. And Boulanger being attended to at the Argo bench. Corey Philpott had some pretty good returns this evening. Decent that time, out near the 37. So the Lions scoring machine will try and get to the end zone one more time. Argos did stop them the last time they had the ball. Toronto's storyline so far: Kerrigan injured. Tracy Ham 5 for 10, 96 yards and 2 TDs.
And you know, as you look at the Argonaut schedule, they've had the rough part over, where they had 2 games in a short period of time. And you know, if they were able to win this football game tonight, get their second win of the season, 4 points, I mean, they are right back in the thick of things in the Eastern Conference. Ottawa hammered last night by Saskatchewan, and of course Ottawa goes on to play in Calgary this weekend. So for the Toronto Argonauts, and as bleak as the things seemed a few weeks ago for Dennis Meyer and his group, it's not so bad. There you see the standings. Ottawa could very well lose again in Calgary on the weekend, and they'd be at 2 points. Toronto could see themselves slowly edge up in those standings and not be in bad shape.
Yeah, it's been a tough run for the Ottawa Rough Riders after winning opening week. They've now lost 5 straight games. Tough night on several players this evening. That's Ken Whitley, who started at left half coming off the field. Lions first down. Barrett at the 38 has Matt Clark right at midfield. Third leading receiver in the CFL in his rookie year. 79 receptions, 1,530 yards, and 10 touchdowns.
And I was talking to Joe Palpal, their offensive coordinator, and I said, you know, your receivers are equally as good in the zone as they are at man-to-man, and you saw a great example there. Clark just working until he finds the open spot. Barrett reads it, hits him nicely. Those numbers from a week ago.
15-yard gain there. The Lions at the 53. Barrett has Clark again, this time to the 39. The safety, Dave Van Bellingham, over to make the stop on Matt Clark, who has 2 in a row.
Once again, Clark reads the zone quickly. Now watch, he just chokes that motor down and settles in the open area. Danny Barrett finds him, and 2 nice completions in a row to Matt Clark. And once again, BC Lions having everything pretty much their own way here.
An 18-yard gain for Clark on that last play. Lions at the Toronto 39. Barrett to his right. Open far side. Clark has 3 in a row. Darren Hughes, 27. Hallman with a little pressure.
Danny Barrett getting great time to throw the football, and there you see Matt Clark's pattern. That's man-to-man that time. You see how hard he worked to get open on number 5, Andrew Thomas. So you can see his features. He can do it in the zone. He can do it man-to-man. A roughing penalty on Hallman, and wow.
Look where the Lions are with that penalty tacked on all the way to the 15. This drive began back at the 35 about 3.5 plays ago. Lions first and 10. Flutie has the touchdown. Millington, rather. Sean Millington. Second of the night for Millington.
Nice quick read by Danny Barrett. The blitz is coming. There's Williams right up the middle, and Sean Millington gets inside Ken Benson. Van Bellingham cannot get there, and the BC Lions have their 4th touchdown of the night.
Sean Millington is having some kind of an evening so far. Lou Pasaglia adds the points, and the Lions have restored their 2-touchdown lead with 3 minutes to go till halftime.
And this is a great read by Danny Barrett. There you see. There you see Dave Van Bellingham, the middle safety over here. So this is the area you want to attack. Sean Millington inside on Ken Benson right there. Watch how quickly Danny Barrett reads it. Boom, he's open right now. You got to hit him quick. There it is. Middle wide open. Millington the catch. His 2nd touchdown. 4 receivers on the wide side. Spreads everything out nicely. BC Lions make it look pretty easy.
Sean Millington rolling into the end zone for his 2nd touchdown of the ball game. It's 31-17 BC. This is CFL Live. 72 yards in just 4 plays. Danny Barrett, with a little help from a penalty, sets up Sean Millington with a touchdown from 15 yards out. Millington just rolling into the end zone after making the catch. 3 for 131 yards, 2 touchdowns leave, and then the assist on Trevathan, because it was the pass to Millington that Trevathan recovered the fumble on, and he went in to score for the Lions.
Sean Millington's had a great first half, but you know, you have to appreciate the offensive schemes the BC Lions have used. They were expecting the blitz down on the goal line there. They spread everybody out, and they anticipated the coverage they would get, and they hit it perfectly.
Derek McAdoo. Markers are down, and so is McAdoo at the 45. Let's see if Tracy Ham can respond with another scoring drive for the Argos. He has run the ball effectively and made it to the end zone twice himself. 7 of 12 for 109 yards.
He's down. And his task becomes even more difficult. I mean, he has to be thinking, I might have to score 50 points to have an opportunity to win this game
Yeah,
tonight.
he might be absolutely right. Lions already have 31. Less than 3 minutes to go till halftime. Argos with Robert Clark coming to the near side and Zatilny to the far side. First down at the Toronto 30. Ham pumps once. And look for pinball Clemens. Off target. The ball was out of bounds.
O.J. Brigant's trying to take the inside move and tie up two people, so Warnock could come free on the outside. It doesn't work that time, but he gives himself up to try and create an opportunity for someone else.
Pinball Clemens in the game because Derek McAdoo has suffered a foot injury. McAdoo says he will be back.
2nd and 10. Ham far side. Hazard made the catch, and that'll be a first down out near the 45.
Nice catch by Manny Hazard to keep this drive going for the Argonauts. Of course, he is in. Larry Willis, injury problems this week, so Manny Hazard gets an opportunity to play. And of course, at the University of Houston, that was a run and shoot university offense, and so he's very familiar with this system.
First start for Hazard since week 2. Big first down. Ham. Not quite that time. Kip Willis, number 83. Coverage, Eddie Taylor.
I think if you're going to attack this BC Lions secondary, you have to attack their inside safeties, Bruce Plummer and Eddie Taylor. That is the area to go to. You're not going to make a living on Les Brown and Andre Francis. I think Tracy Ham knows that. It's in the game plan, no question about that. I think if the Argonauts are going to have a successful last few minutes here in second half, it has to be with Manny Hazard and Kip Lewis.
Lions have had some problems with their halfbacks this season. They've also had some injury problems in that area. Clark, the catch, breaks away and gets the first down. Good effort by Robert Clark to get away, get the extra yards, and turn in a first down on a 13-yard gain.
And he is really working hard against one of the better one-on-one corners in the league. Breaks the tackle of Andre Francis, the spin move there to get away, and the tremendous effort that was to pick up a first down.
5 receptions, 76 yards for Clark so far. 2:03 till halftime. The Lions leading 31-17. The Argos 1st and 10 at the BC 52. Ham releasing in a hurry for Zatilny. He is wrestled down by Les Brown. It'll be second down. Call it a gain of 6, 2nd and 4.
The Argos are getting some pretty good matchups with Mike Clemens, 31, against the BC linebackers. And don't be surprised if you see Tracy Ham go over the top of that defense with Clemens on a linebacker.
Keith Poe playing his 4th game for the Lions. John McNeil was in the lineup last week, and Coach Dave Ritchie has been kind of alternating these two players.
Yeah, the reasoning is he likes to keep them fresh. And 2 games in, 2 games out, that type of thing. And Keith Poe and John McNeil, very little difference between those 2 defensive ends. It's Poe's turn to play tonight.
We'll be at Winnipeg Stadium to watch the Eskimos and the Blue Bombers in what should be a pretty good football game. Tomorrow night, our start time, 8:30 on TSN. Lions are 4-2 under Dave Ritchie in his first year as a CFL head coach. A year ago, the Lions were 0-6. after 6 games.
It's amazing the turnaround. He has brought in a lot of veteran players who have performed nicely for him. They've developed that roster with some free agents of their own, guys like Corey Philpott. Good-looking team.
Solid offensive display so far tonight with 31 points in the opening half. And there's still 1:41 to go. Meantime, the Argos have the ball on 2nd and 4. Big pressure on Tracy Ham. He's got a wide open receiver. Hazard will score. Manny Hazard and Bruce Plummer had an interesting set-to down there for a 46-yard touchdown.
And as we suggested, it would have to be the inside receivers that probably come up with the big plays for the Argonauts tonight. That's where other teams have been successful offensively against the BC Lions. Tracy Ham getting away from Begance. That is the key to get this play off the ground. And then Manny Hazard with a nice catch and then a little dipsy-doodle move at the end there to get by Plummer.
Watch this.
Yep, good
Plummer
move.
has another opportunity. But Hazard had the angle. Tracy Ham is finding a way to keep this one close. Manny Hazard celebrating his first touchdown.
Manny Hazard is right here, and Robert Clark, as he comes off the line of scrimmage up there, gets a little bit of a rub, and then it's the out and up. And as you'll see this play develop, Manny Hazard is wide open down the sidelines there. There you see the little rub there by Clark, creates some confusion. They can't stay with Hazard. Ham sees it quickly, gets the ball to him, and then nice little dipsy-doodle move right there. Manny Hazard gets into the end zone with a touchdown. So give the Toronto Argonauts credit. Their defense has had a horrid night, but the offense has really picked up their pace and kept them nicely in this game.
Hazard bounced the ball away there, then went and quickly reclaimed it for a souvenir of a 6-play drive covering 80 yards. And again, folks, one touchdown between these two teams. Corey Philpott at the 15. They're scoring at will at the stadium at BC Place. 31-24 now. The Lions with 1:20 remaining till halftime have the ball back and a decent opportunity to add to their total. 260 yards passing in the opening quarter for Danny Barrett. 13 of 17.
I guess if there was a negative on that last Toronto scoring drive, it was the fact that it would have been nice if they could have run the clock out and kept the ball away from Danny Barrett, because he's got lots of time to answer again.
We'll see if he can. Philpott. And there wasn't much room to the right side. Call it 3. Tackle made by linebacker Arnie Williams. Flutie to the near side. 2nd down. Barrett faked the same play, then went to the outside. Alexander makes the catch in front of Darren Hughes, number 27. 10 yards, 1st down. What a week Danny McManus had in Edmonton. Or what a night, I should say, last Saturday night. Numbers on the season, but McManus just had a field day against the Edmonton Eskimos.
Yeah, 4 of those 5 touchdown passes were last week.
Jonathan Wilson knocking it down.
This is great zone defense. You see Jonathan Wilson here. He's in the zone out here, and he's got the Reggie Pleasant's got the back. Watch the out. He's going to slide right underneath it and play it perfectly. That is as good as you can play the zone. There it is. Hey, watch him working. He's getting. Oh, hey, that's nice zone defense.
2nd and 10, the Lions. 48 seconds till halftime. BC leading by a touchdown. Wilson back on side. No penalty marker down. Barrett look for Matt Clark, number 85. Marker down.
Toronto doing a nice job to mix up the coverages. Jonathan Wilson coming on the blitz, and he forces Barrett to throw the ball high. Toronto, of course, will get the ball back quickly. The defense tightening it down just a notch. See the jump up in the air. There's no way he can complete the pass out to Matt Clark.
No penalty, 44 seconds to go till halftime. Lou Pasaglia is in, standing at his 35. This is Mike Clemens waiting at his 20. Foudy leading the Lion tacklers to the pinball that time. 41-yard punt, 5-yard return. 34 seconds till halftime, and Belanger looks to be through for the night. That's Francois Belanger, shaken up in the second quarter. Still appears to be in a great deal of pain. Well, what can Tracy do with 34 seconds? Starting from the 25. Robert Clark, number 89, to the near side. Wally Zatilny, far side, with one other receiver out there. Ham, the handoff to Warren Hudson. Not many Lions fooled there. Hudson gets a couple.
Francois Belanger taken to the dressing room now, and they still don't know exactly what's wrong with him. They suspect it's either a severely sprained knee or a broken fibular cap, which is the top of your lower leg that goes into the kneecap. If that's the case, it's extremely painful and takes a very long time to heal.
13 seconds till halftime. The Lions lead by a touchdown. Warren Hudson, this draw play worked, and Hudson is out to the 40 with 3 seconds to go.
I'll give Tracy Ham credit. He has come in a very difficult situation, trailing by 21 points at one stage, and he has brought his club back. They are in the thick of things. They only trail by 7, 31-24. He has done a nice job in the first half replacing Kerrigan.
Should be the last play of the opening half. Ham goes for it. This is Lewis, and he is stopped near the 40-yard line. Bruce Plummer making the tackle. That's all for the opening half at the stadium at BC Place. A 55 points opening half. Lots more ahead. Stay with us on the CFL Live.
High-scoring first half, 55 points put on the board in the first 30 minutes. BC leading it by a touchdown with the second half to come. This picking up right where last week left off. Week 5 in the CFL saw plenty of excitement, including a couple of backup quarterbacks who excelled. And we start things off with the Toronto Argonauts, who finally got in the win column. It was a long time between wins for the Toronto Argonauts. 10 long games stretching back to the end of last season since the Boatmen last tasted victory. But they finally got the monkey off their back with a win over the expansion Sacramento Gold Miners. Despite throwing 4 interceptions, Mike Kerrigan was very sharp, especially in the first half when he led the Argos to a 24-8 lead. Kerrigan passing for 467 yards and 3 touchdowns. The Argos actually led 34-11 before the Gold Miners nearly pulled off the miraculous comeback. 2 quick scores, including one on a long punt return by Freeman Basinger, brought the Miners within 6. But the Argos got a late field goal and hung on for a 37-35 win. The Hamilton Ticats, meantime, have fallen on hard times recently. The Cats opened the season 3-0, but have since dropped 2 straight games. On Friday at Ivor-Wynne Stadium, the Cats saw Saskatchewan's Kent Austin play a game of pitch and catch with slotback Ray Elgard. Austin was hot. He passed for 462 yards and 2 touchdowns to lead the Green Riders to a 37-10 win. Elgard, meantime, tore the Hamilton secondary apart. 12 catches for 212 yards and 2 touchdowns, the best receiving day of his career. Hamilton quarterback Don McPherson was not as successful, completing just 13 passes The Ticats have scored just 1 touchdown in their last 2 games. And what would another week be without another great performance by Doug Flutie? Although at times the Ottawa secondary made it pretty easy for Flutie to find his receivers. Flutie passed for 556 yards and 3 touchdowns as Calgary blasted Ottawa 47-22. The same 2 teams hook up in Calgary on Saturday night. And in Edmonton on Saturday night, the league's best defensive team was picked apart by a backup quarterback. Danny Barrett missed the game due to a death in the family, so Danny McManus got the start for the BC Lions. And McManus didn't waste the opportunity. He threw 4 touchdown passes to beat Edmonton 39-23. The Eskimo defense had only given up an average of 11 points a game going into the contest. The loss dropped Edmonton into 3rd place behind the Lions in the CFL West. Last night, Week 6 kicked off with Saskatchewan hammering Ottawa 45-28. Ken Austin had 4 touchdowns in the first half, 5 overall. Tom Burgess picked off 6 times by the Saskatchewan defense. Our halftime activities will continue in just a moment. Line dancing, well, for people of all ages. We're right back.
From Vancouver, CFL Live, 55 points, 7 touchdowns, and a real defensive struggle here at BC Place in the opening half. Lots of fun football. Lions off to a great start, and Sean Millington, I guess, is where you want to begin.
Well, he had an unbelievable first half. How about this? 3 catches, 131 yards, a couple of touchdowns, and this was his first touchdown. Nicely executed screenplay. You see Arnie Williams coming on the blitz. Sean Millington gives him a little rub there, and then he is off and running downfield. And of course, BC Lions went on to score on their first 4 possessions, 3 touchdowns and a field goal. It looked like it was going to be a rout, but Toronto did come back.
Yeah, Tracy Ham, in relief of Mike Kerrigan, looked like the Tracy Ham of old in the opening half.
It's a nice play for Tracy Ham. The option there, good block on Jeff Jackson coming on the blitz, and now the option. He fakes Keith Poe. Poe goes with the back, and Tracy Ham comes around the corner. Now, who's waiting for him? Number 22, Sean Footie. Is he in good position? Yeah, he's in good position to make the play, but watch the little dipsy doodle move. Sean Footie doesn't keep his feet moving, and he is dead in the water. Tracy Ham goes in for the first of his 2 touchdowns of the half.
Yeah, Tracy Ham gave him the double D there, didn't he?
The double deke, yes, he did. And what looked like a rout for the BC Lions early has turned out to be a pretty good football game.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun here tonight. We'll see if the defenses show up to make it a little closer in the second half at BC Place. Sean Millington leads the Lions by a touchdown. Here are the numbers from the opening half at the stadium at BC Place. Get out the calculator to try and figure out how many total yards were picked up by both teams in that game. In the opening half, I should say, 14:31 time of possession for the Argos, 15:29 for the Lions, who lead it by a touchdown. Part of the story, Mike Kerrigan on the sidelines early in the opening quarter.
Yeah, it looks like the broken clavicle, left side collarbone, and pretty tough for Mike Kerrigan. He came off a great win, their only win of the season last week against Sacramento, and you can see by the look on his face, pretty dejected. Things were going nicely for him, and now this setback with the injury.
In relief of Kerrigan, Tracy Ham has done a pretty good job of moving the Argos in the second half. Underway now with Lou Pasaglia's kickoff. Wally Zatilny has a little room to the near side and cuts it back in. Footie made the tackle, penalty marker down. Tracy Ham should be at around the 40-yard line to begin his first offensive set of the second half. 12 of 19, 210, and the touchdown toss.
Illegal block. 37 on the receiving team. First down.
Keith Costello, a special teams player for the Argonauts.
I think Tracy Ham did an unbelievable job coming in relief of Kerrigan with the injury, actually, to Kerrigan, and good play selection, mixed it up nicely. Most of those rushes were actually Tracy Ham himself.
Argos first down. A little heat on Ham. He eludes it. Penalty marker is down. Hazard makes the catch. Bruce Plummer stopping Hazard after a substantial gain.
Well, there has been a lot of contact in the secondary tonight, both sides, and very difficult to determine how they will call this. But I know one thing, Manny Hazard has made some fine catches tonight as he has come back into the lineup for the Argonauts, and none better than the one he just made there on the opening play of the third quarter. And the way the Argonauts are walking, it looks as though it's going to remain as a gain.
Still sorting things out. We're early in the second half, with the Lions leading 31-24.
Illegal contact. Number 29 on the defense. Penalty is declined. Major foul. Face mask. Number 29 on the defense. At 15 yards first.
Bruce Plummer charged with face masking.
Manny Hazard is now about 6'3".
Stretched him out a little bit, did he?
Stretched his neck out a little bit, did Bruce Plummer.
Hazard 3 for 104, and the touchdown that he celebrated near the end of the opening half.
Sure has made the most of his opportunities tonight. Gord?
Well, all this offense may be great for fans, but I'll tell you one guy who doesn't like it much at all. Dave Ritchie, the Lions head coach, took his defense into another room in the locker room area and lit into them during the half, telling them they've got to play better than they have. And he was still livid as he watched Manny Hazard pick up that big gain.
Argos down by a touchdown, have a chance to narrow the gap with a first down at the BC 20 on a big play by Hazard, and penalties tacked on. Ham for Clark. He makes the catch and scores the touchdown. There's a marker down. Andre Francis on the coverage. 19 yards. Tracy Ham to Robert Clark.
And interference will be called on Andre Francis. The touchdown will stand, and what a catch by Robert Clark. It seems every game he's been getting better and better. He's been making all the key catches, balls thrown his way, and watch how he outfights Andre Francis for this football. That is spectacular. The Toronto Argonauts are 1 point away from tying this game up.
It's hard to believe, isn't it?
It really is. I mean, they were down by 21 early in the game.
And a point away from even right now with Lance Chomick. Andrew Murray holding, and we're all even. 31-31. 62 points, and we've only played the first minute of the second half.
And John, you know, we talked about at the beginning the difference might be, could the Toronto offensive line protect their quarterbacks? Well, they're doing a pretty good job. Watch Jeff Jackson coming on the blitz right here. Well, hey, Chris Green, the right guard, does a nice job to pick it up. Everybody working hard for Tracy Ham, and when that happens, look at the sight lines he has downfield. Nobody in his face, and he doesn't throw the greatest of passes. Clark makes a spectacular catch, but the offensive line, which was the key maybe to their production tonight, has, I think, for the most part, performed pretty well.
2 plays, 76 yards in less than a minute.
It's been fast and furious, hasn't it?
And Danny Barrett has had a hot hand for the Lions all night, so I would think they will be back in the end zone shortly.
Yeah, just another long, grinded out kind of CFL drive.
Philpott on the return. Van Bellingham, one of the Argonauts there to join him near the 40-yard line. So enter Danny Barrett. Nice numbers. 14 of 20 for 270 in the first half alone, and a couple of touchdowns. Barrett missed last week's victory over the Edmonton Eskimos at Commonwealth in Edmonton. He was attending his brother's funeral in Florida. Danny McManus engineered a victory over the Eskimos. Barrett has come back and played very, very well in this one tonight. One more injury. Ken Haley is down.
Yeah, Ken Haley at the left of your screen. Watch right here. They're trying to get the block, and his knee just gets collapsed underneath. You know, so often when you're in and around that pileup, it's just somebody slamming into you don't expect, and his leg is pinned underneath there, and that's unfortunate for Haley. He comes in all their nickel situations as seems rather a funny term now, nickel back, because it's really the sixth defensive back, but that's what his position has been with the BC Lions, and he looks like he's in trouble.
We'll take a timeout at the stadium at BC Place. There's lots more football to come. The Lions and the Argos in a shootout. It's 31-31. Battle of the Rough Riders won by Saskatchewan last evening, 45-28 over Ottawa. Kent Austin, 5 touchdown passes, kind of a regular night for Austin. Burgess struggling a bit with some more interceptions.
Yeah, 6 interceptions, and for him 14 on the season. That usually seems to be the case with Tom Burgess, either very hot or very cold. Last night obviously one of those nights when things did not go well for him, but for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, that is 2 very convincing wins back to back. They went into Hamilton last week and played a near flawless game, and now last night another good solid win over the Ottawa Roughriders.
Dave Ritchie has had the best defense in Canadian football for the last 2 years as the coordinator in Ottawa, and prior to that the coordinator of the Blue Bomber defense. He put together a pretty good defense in British Columbia to turn the Lions around, but he wasn't happy with it, as Gord was talking about in the first half.
In all fairness, you know, everybody thinks that they are performing at a much higher level defensively, but they are last in total defense coming into this week in the Canadian Football League, and obviously that is a concern that weighs heavily with Dave Ritchie.
1st and 10 for the Lions. Beginning at the BC 43. Barrett over the middle. Millington makes the catch and knocks 2 defenders over before going down himself.
This is what BC does so well. They use different offensive sets. Here's Sean Millington lined up as a tight end. He just takes it right up through the middle seam. There's nobody there. Danny Barrett sees it nicely, and look how quickly he reads it. Hey, they're dead. In the middle, there's Arnie Williams. He can't get back to cover it, and there's no middle safety. Nice offensive scheme. Sean Millington is a tight end. Not bad.
29 yards for Millington and the Lions. Barrett a good fake, releasing to Philpott, coming out of the backfield, and he drew close cover that time from Ken Benson, but the pass was overthrown.
No, you don't like to pick on a guy, but Arnie Williams, number 72, the middle linebacker for the Argonauts, has really had a tough night, and he's had a tough night recognizing the screens, and that time he just could not get back quickly enough to cover Sean Millington in the deep middle. Hey, he should have had help from the middle safety, but Williams has had a tough night at that middle linebacking spot. Danny Barrett's picked on him a number of times.
2nd and 10. Lions. Argo 38. Barrett near side. Almost picked off. Intended for Flutie. And Williams had his mitts on the ball for a minute. Penalty marker down near the 40-yard line.
Now you think this kid's had a good night, Sean Millington? As a fullback, 4 catches, 160 yards. I can't even figure out the average
number
on that.
62 on the offense.
Sounds like 40 yards a catch.
The old math major from Otterbein comes through again.
Boy, you can't fool me.
Penalty against the Lions makes it 2nd and 20. Lions caught for holding. 31-31 early in the 3rd quarter at BC Place. Barrett, Trevathan, the intended receiver, no good. Kevin Whitley, number 6, was covering on Mike Trevathan in the out pattern.
Trevathan should have had it. Would have been a nice conversion on 2nd and 20, but he's not able to hang on to the football, and that may be the only way the BC Lions offense slows down tonight, if they drop a few balls, because Toronto's had great difficulty defensing them.
Louis had one blocked, and that set up an Argo touchdown in the first half. 12:02 to play, third quarter. The pinball, Mike Clemens watching it bounce. He might have lost it in the lights. Markers are down. Clemens tries to squirt out of there, but no way. A 43-yard punt. Not much for Mike Clemens on the return. He did not catch a pass or carry the ball last week. For the first time in his Argo career, number 31, Mike Clemens.
Bad news now on the injury front for the BC Lions. Ken Haley hyperextended his knee and jammed his ankle. They don't think he'll be back, and Les Brown is really not feeling well. He's going to stay in, but they think he has a touch of food poisoning or something, and he's really feeling weak out there.
Still sorting out the penalties.
16 on the kicking team. Major foul, unnecessary roughness, number 35 on the receiving team. First down.
Double penalties, one each way. And the Argos didn't have to give up much yardage from where the infraction happened because it was near the 5. So it's a long way for Tracy Ham and the Argos to go down to that BC end zone. 1st and 10. Argos beginning at the 3. Hazard couldn't make the catch. Argos have been impressive the last 4 times they've had their mitts on the old ball.
Well, they've really answered the challenge put to them by their own defense. Defense gave them up 31 points, and Toronto has come back nicely, and they find themselves in a tie.
2nd and 10. Here's the pressure on Ham. Clark opens over the middle and makes the catch for a first down. Big play for the Argos. Booty in on the stop near the 25.
And Robert Clark very quickly is turning into one of the better wide receivers in the league. He is coming up with key play after play. Watch zone. He sees the soft coverage. Now, all he's trying to do is find an open spot for Tracy Ham to find him. He does it nicely, and Toronto, backed up on their own goal line, gets a much-needed first down and some breathing room.
7 for 117. Hit from behind. Clemens was the intended receiver. Ty Jones decked Tracy Ham from the blind side.
Tyrone Jones not talking to the local media here in Vancouver. He's going to let his play do the talking, he says, and there he comes from the blind side and gets the good hit on Tracy Ham, and of course that forces the ball to be incomplete. Tyrone Jones missed a couple of games.
First start in the last 3 weeks. He was the defensive player of the year. Remember way back in 1985. 2nd and 10. Ham looking for Hazard. Good defensive play by Bruce Plummer, number 29.
Bruce Plummer's had a tough night, but that time, even though he was turned around, he was able to recover quickly and knock that ball away from Manny Hazard. So the BC Lion defense, which started off pretty well tonight, collapsed totally in the second quarter, has a good series and will get the ball back nicely in nice field position for their offense. Bruce McNall made the trip up from Los Angeles tonight to watch his team play. Wayne's around too, isn't he?
Just saw Wayne Gretzky in the hallway here a moment ago. He said he might drop by. I hope he remembers. This is Philpott. Away from one tackler. Markers down. Philpott forced out near the 51. .43 to go in the third quarter. Timeouts at the stadium at BC Place. 62 points so far. There's a guarantee there will be several more. From Vancouver, CFL Live.
Another reason we're today's better way.
Here with Argo owner Bruce McNall, an interested spectator. Great for the fans, this kind of football.
Sure is. Not exactly defensive struggle, but the fans love this kind of game, and that's what the CFL is all about.
You know, even with all the early struggles this team had, a win today puts you right back in the playoff race. Is there a sense of optimism now?
I think so. I think we played a lot better the last 3 or 4 games, only won the last one, and tonight it looks like we're playing a little better offensively, so I'm optimistic about it.
Let's get back and watch the game. Thanks, Bruce.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sorting out another penalty on the field. Goes against the BC Lions on the return, so they'll begin at the 35. 9:39 to go, third quarter. Barrett shotgun. Here comes the heat. Brian Warren can't get there, and Barrett's on target to Ray Alexander, number 88. Darren Hughes, number 27, covering on Alexander.
Danny Barrett does a nice job as the pocket collapses. You see right up the middle there. Hey, this is where he comes up, steps in, and got great sight lines downfield to pick up Ray Alexander coming across the field. But once again, his offensive line pushing everybody out to the side, so Danny Barrett has nice vision up the middle.
17-yard gain, third reception for 51 yards for Alexander is Millington. Gets the handoff, and he's halfway to a first down. Sean Millington suggested at the start of the season that he wanted to be the best fullback in Canadian football this season.
He might be the best receiving fullback now.
Yeah, I think he's got that locked up, at least on tonight's performance. 6 starts in 92. Born in Vancouver and graduated from Simon Fraser University in his third year.
Yeah, he's got the package 6'2" and about 2 1/4. He's a great physical specimen.
His third start tonight in 93. Second down. Barrett once more. Mike Trevathan. Kevin Whitley, number 6 on the tackle. First reception of the evening for Trevathan, number 77.
And once again, the offensive line doing a good job to pick up the blitz. And look at the protection they give Danny Barrett and the time to pick out a receiver. No hands in his face, nobody slapping at him. I mean, if you do that for your quarterback, most nights he's going to have a great night, and that's exactly what's happening for Danny Barrett.
A 15-yard gain sets the Lions up. First and 10 at the 39. Alexander dropped. A pass he should have caught. Pleasant was covering on Alexander. Barrett on target.
Good pattern by Ray Alexander. Nothing wrong, except he just couldn't catch the ball. And you know, sometimes that's the most difficult place to catch it, right up in the middle of the numbers. And for Ray Alexander, certainly that was the case there. Don't be surprised if Danny Barrett comes right back to him just to show them that he still has a lot of confidence in him.
Second and 10, Lions at the 39 of the Argos. Here comes Warren. Barrett away from that. And almost threw the interception to Dave Van Bellingham. And Bellingham missing on his third interception, one he thinks he might well have made.
Yeah, Brian Warren coming from the top of the screen, let it go, and Kari Urenko, the right tackle, he just makes a miss because Millington moves inside. They turn Brian Warren free, and for the BC Lions, they're very fortunate they didn't turn the ball over there.
Here's Lou Pasaglia to break a 31-31 tie with 6:52 to go, third quarter. Ball spotted at the 46. And Lou is wide this time. It remains tied as the pinball gets out near the 7. And that's about all. Still even. Lou Pasaglia missing this field goal try, so we're still deadlocked at the stadium at BC Place. It's 31-31 on CFL Live.
Still even at 31 here at the stadium at BC Place, and with me now is Eric Tillman, the general manager of the BC Lions. And Eric, it's intriguing to me that after last year there was a lot of doom and gloom here in Vancouver, but there seems to be a lot of excitement now.
I don't think there's any question. There's a lot of excitement here, Gord. We maybe more than we wanted in this game. Toronto's really come back, but it's good for the league. And we're a competitive football team. I think we're going to be in a lot of exciting games this year. We're not where we want to be or need to be, but we are better.
What's been the key to the turnaround, you think?
Well, I think Bill Comrie, the ownership, he made a commitment to allow us to do some things in the offseason to improve this club. We took some criticism for it, but I think if you look at the crowd and the enthusiasm here, I don't think there's any doubt that it's good for the league.
Got to ask you, because the rumor's been running throughout the league that Mervyn Fernandez is coming to BC. What's the story? Have you talked to Merv at all?
You've heard that. No, Merv just retired last week at San Francisco, and I had a long conversation with John McVay, the vice president of the 49ers. He's technically still their property because he retired as opposed to being cut. If circumstances change, we might talk to him, but right now I think the story's premature.
All right, Eric, thanks very much.
Thank you, Gord.
Back for the Argo first down. Ball on the Toronto 7. It opens up for Tracy Ham. Clark makes the catch, and that'll be a first down for the Argos out near the 25. Jackson on the tackle. What do you think? Swervin Mervyn back in a BC uniform.
Not a chance. Won't happen.
I agree.
Eric Tillman, the general manager, was hedging there, but I can tell you, conversation with the BC Lions front office people today, it will not happen.
Robert Clark picks up 18 to add to his total. 8 for 35, 135, and the touchdown for Robert Clark. Big catch there because he gets the Argos out from the shadow of the goalposts. The intended receiver was Manny Hazard. 29 Bruce Plummer won that battle with the coverage on Hazard.
Bruce Plummer's picked his game up a notch here in the third quarter. That's the second nice play he has made on Hazard, and he has taken the talking to that Dave Ritchie gave him to heart, I'm sure, at halftime, because he was exploited in the first half, but his level has certainly improved here in the third quarter.
2nd and 10 for the Argos, now out at the Toronto 25. 5:26 to go, third quarter. We're all even at 31. Clark, another first down, this time at the 40. There's a marker down back at the line of scrimmage.
I think it's going to go against the BC Lions, too, and move a little farther downfield for the Argonauts. Probably a roughing call on Tracy Ham.
Roughing the passer. Number 72 on the defense. At 15 yards and first down.
Glenn Scrivener, 4 sacks on the season, charged with roughing the passer.
Well, once that ball is released, you have to leave the quarterback alone. And Glenn Scrivener came late, got the call. So the Robert Clark reception, you tack another 15 onto it, and in a hurry, Toronto's been able to move it out to midfield.
Argos start at the 7-yard line.
Yeah.
On this drive.
Well, you have to be impressed with the character that Toronto has shown tonight hanging into this game. They had a terrible first quarter, and then they had an awesome second quarter, and here in the third have kept that level up.
Argos have scored the only touchdown of the second half to get back to even at 31-31.
Well, maybe it was good for Tracy Ham to be the backup quarterback for a couple of weeks and all the heat and pressure taken off. There was a tremendous amount of hype on him and pressure on him with that big trade, essentially an 8-for-1 player trade for him. But now with 2 weeks to kind of just sit back and relax a little bit, maybe he has been able to regroup and recapture his quarterbacking ability, because tonight he has been good.
Mike Kerrigan was shaken up early in the game in the first quarter. And Tracy Ham has been responsible for all of the Argo scoring so far. On the move, Clark sideline pattern. Coverage by Andre Francis. 2nd and 10.
The Argonauts have done a nice job picking up the pass rush of the BC Lions. One of the few times the Lions only rush 5 people, and Toronto does a good job in protection. Unfortunately, they can't complete the pass.
They've got the fanometer fired up here at the stadium at BC Place, trying to get the fans to make a little more noise. The pinball, Mike Clemens, the intended receiver, and Ty Jones was out on coverage there. But the pass was well off target.
Well, we talked about that in the second quarter, that Toronto was getting some pretty favorable matchups with Mike Clemens on the BC Lion linebackers. It's just that Tracy Ham has not been able to hit it. I like the Toronto chances with Clemens on Tyrone Jones.
Yeah, there might be a little speed differential there. Ham hits the sidelines. Wayne Lamely back to punt at his 41. Philpott standing near his 10. Well covered by the Argo special teams, led by Ken Benson. 6-yard return, 46-yard punts. And Barrett tries to get the Lions offense rolling once more. He has moved the team a little bit in the second half, but he hasn't been able to score. 331 yards over the evening and a couple of touchdowns.
I think for Danny Barrett, the most difficult thing for him to do now is to recapture the momentum, the tremendous momentum that they had in the first quarter. They have really tailed off. The Toronto defense has tightened up a little better. So for Danny Barrett, he's all of a sudden in a tie game, and he has to improve.
For Trevathan, diving catch over the middle. He's out to the 31. 72, linebacker Arnie Williams made the stop.
And for Danny Barrett to pick up the offensive level of play, he's going to need to have big plays from his receivers. And what a fine catch that is by Mike Trevathan. A quick post in the middle, and that is a fine catch.
Out across the 30 at the 32. First down Lions. Alexander to the near side. Barrett looks to the far side of the field and underthrew Sean Billington, number 25. .31 first half points for the Lions. Barrett, a nice passing performance. Millington, a very nice receiving performance with 4 for 160, including 2 touchdowns.
Pretty typical Danny Barrett kind of night, too. 2 touchdown passes, no interceptions. A quarterback that we've documented over the years that usually does not beat himself.
Barrett on target once more for Darren Flutie this time. Hit by Pleasant out at the 48-yard line. Big play, BC.
They've made great use of Darren Flutie as the number 3 receiver inside tonight. Here he is. Watch how he just clears the linebackers into the open middle, and that's who Danny Barrett's looking for all the way. They've exploited the middle of the Toronto secondary tonight, and as soon as he clears the linebackers, there you see the ball in the air. Good catch by Flutie, but hey, he is a great inside receiver.
A 29-yard gain sets the Lions up. And again, it's Darren Flutie, this time scrapping for the first down.
And you know, when I say he's a great inside receiver, sure, he's a good wide receiver too, but I think, you know, the speed factor, he's not the fastest guy, he's not slow by any stretch, but this is his forte, reading coverages, and he is much more effective on the inside than he is on the outside.
Six for 84. He was not used early in this second half, but 2 big catches now. And the Lions are 1st and 10 at the 35. Barrett backpedaling. Philpott couldn't make the catch. Big hit by Dave Van Bellingham.
Yeah, and these are the hits that you kind of dream about having. Back coming out of the backfield, vulnerable, looking back into the backfield, and you just line them up, measure them, and then just explode through the shoulder pads of the receiver, and Dave Van Bellingham did it perfectly.
2nd and 10 facing the Lions now. It's 31-31 with 1:16 to go.
You know, the key for those hits is just to explode right up through there with your legs driving, and Van Bellingham, that was a tremendous hit.
Barrett on 2nd and 10, standing in, finding Matt Clark. Good run after the catch by Clark. He was decked by Van Bellingham. And Don Moen, 23 yards on 2nd and 10. Time running out, 3rd quarter.
Well, we suggested at the beginning of this drive that Danny Barrett had to recapture some of the momentum that he had early and then lost, and he has done a nice job to move his team down the field. Seems like he's using all the receivers effectively too. Clark with the catch. Trevathan started this drive off with a nice one. Flutie with a couple. So Danny Barrett mixing things up nicely, keeping all his receivers involved.
And a chance to add to the BC total here with 1st and 11. 1st down and 10 from the 11. Here's Matt Clark couldn't hang on. Turned to run for the touchdown, I think, before he had possession completely.
Yeah, and Toronto's very lucky. Coverage breakdown in the secondary, and Matt Clark was just turned loose. And you know, if you were inside Danny Barrett's helmet, he's saying, boy, I'd like to have that one over again. Yeah, let's have a look at Danny Barrett. He knows he had a free one there.
Oh, no. Can you believe that?
That's sport.
2nd and 10, Lions. Barrett. Alexander, the intended receiver. No markers down. So the Lions come up dry on that drive as far as a touchdown is concerned. Final play, 3rd quarter. Still all even. Lions have possession and look for a field goal when we return. Ready for the 4th quarter at BC Place. The Lions will try to take the lead. Lou Pasaglia, chip shot field goal try here. Darren Flutie to hold. Lou Pasaglia adds 3 to the Lion total. It's 34-31. $55 points in the opening half. 1 Argo touchdown, 1 Lion field goal so far through in the 3rd quarter. Still an interesting half, even though we didn't see the wide open offense. Lions have the advantage in time of possession at 24-19, 453 net yards to 352.
Yeah, and the only turnover of a pretty well played game was the botched punt by Lou Pasaglia when they had some pretty heavy pressure. Lions score very interesting. Hey, 55 points in the first 2 quarters, only 7 in the 3rd. And as we begin the 4th quarter, opening play, a Lou Pasaglia field goal. So the defenses have tightened it up a little bit.
Tracy Ham had to get rid of it in a hurry. McAdoo made a pretty sensational catch in heavy traffic in there to grab 3 or 4 yards. McAdoo led the CFL, tied with Blake Marshall with 11 rushing touchdowns in 1989. Playing his 3rd game in the Argos backfield. Ham stands in. No marker. Yes, it comes down. Francis covering on Clark. The flag was a little late. We'll show you what happened.
One of the problems for Andre Francis is he has so much speed, and you'll watch here, he closes the distance nicely. Oh, great coverage, and then he just makes contact before the ball gets there. No question it's interference, but he has so much speed, you know, that sometimes he'll overrun the play and bump into the receiver.
Pass interference. It's first down.
Tell you what, he has had his hands full tonight with Robert Clark. You know, he was the defensive coordinator, Dennis Meyer, before he became the head coach, and you can't take it out of the system when they need a little talking to or a new scheme. Dennis Meyer will jump right back in there and help out.
13:58 to play, fourth quarter. It is the Lions leading the Argos by 3. On the CFL Live from the stadium at BC Place. Ham floats a little one out to McAdoo, and that'll be a first down. Zach Allen shaken up earlier back in the Lion lineup. 12 yards the gain.
It's a good matchup. You try and get your back. Here's McAdoo. He comes out in the flat, and Allen's got to come all the way from the middle. That is a desirable matchup for Toronto because Allen has to stay with him a long way. There you see the key to get the ball to the back quickly. Tracy Ham does that, and they are trying to answer quickly the field goal of the BC Lions, and they trail by 3.
Argos first down at the BC 50. Ham far side on target. Short of the first down. Clark has another reception. Number 89 has been busy tonight. Robert Clark, 9 receptions, 158 yards last week.
Well, I think as teams throughout the league see more and more of Robert Clark, they're going to gain a new respect for him. His level each week has just improved, and he's beating a pretty good corner tonight in Andre Francis. Veteran, 11 years, and traditionally throughout his career known as one of the best one-on-one cover guys in the league, but Clark's having a pretty good night against him.
6 yards there. This is 2nd and 4. Ham looking for Hazard. Hazard's got the ball. Bruce Plummer had trouble with Manny Hazard again. 33 yards, and the Argos are inside the 15.
And Manny Hazard did a terrific job to shield Plummer off at the end of this play. Watch Hazard. He knows the ball is slightly underthrown and Plummer may have a play on him. Watch, he'll slow down, shield the body off, and that is a terrific catch. Look at the concentration.
Argos, first down. BC 11. Toronto trailing by 3. Ham ran the option for a touchdown earlier. He does it again. Tracy Ham. Pretty exciting night for Tracy Ham. The option play worked effectively there, and he cut it back inside.
Good block by Kari Renko, the right tackle on Keith Poe, and once again Tracy Ham makes the correct decision on the option not to pitch it, to run it himself. He has his 3rd touchdown, and you know the Toronto Argonauts are making big play after big play. Everybody making a contribution.
The Argos have the lead for the first time tonight. It has been one heck of a comeback for the Argos, who were down 21-0 early and now have the lead. But I don't get the feeling the Lions are finished yet tonight. 38-34 the score. Will continue on the CFL Live. We just witnessed another nice scoring drive engineered by Tracy Ham. 6 plays to cover 75 yards. And Ham finished it off himself with his 3rd touchdown of the night from 12 yards out.
You know, it's so interesting to see this Toronto offense develop early in the season. Struggled, obviously, and losing their first 5 games. But their young receivers, guys like Manny Hazard, Robert Clark, and Kip Lewis have really come together as a pretty solid receiving core and on the same page as both their quarterbacks. In this case, Tracy Ham having success with them tonight, but it's nice to slowly see this offense develop and really flourish under this run and shoot system.
Corey Philpotts across the 20, across the 30, and across the 40, out to about the 42. Again, Real fine field position for the BC Lions. A 23-yard return, and that sets Barrett up outside the 40 at the 42. 413 yards passing, and this guy isn't leading the ball game right now.
No, for the first time tonight, his club is behind, and he trails by 4 here in the fourth quarter. So for Danny Barrett, obviously each possession now becomes more critical.
Alexander, number 88, to the near side. Spencer McLennan flanks wide to the far side of the field, top of your screen. Barrett using the shotgun. A little shovel pass. Sean Millington lost the ball. The Argos have their second turnover of the night. But there is a penalty marker down back at the line. Cancel the turnover. The penalty is against the Argos.
Offside. Number 99 on the defense. First down repeated.
Now, it's funny, when that play started, it looked as though Mike Campbell jumped the gun just slightly. The flag was a little late coming, but nevertheless they saw it. So the BC Lions really dodge a bullet there as Sean Millington fumbles. Yeah, Mike Campbell had a couple of sacks last week, but the first time we have to mention his name tonight is in a negative way, as that offside penalty negates his team from recovering that fumble.
1st and 5, Lions. Barrett gets the first down. Darren Flutie makes the reception just shy of midfield at about the 53.
No, personally, I think Darren Flutie really wanted to have a big game tonight to kind of squelch the rumors around Vancouver that he was on the way out, and I think he's answered the call nicely tonight and had a pretty solid game.
6-yard gain there. Lions 1st and 10. Barrett out pattern. Flutie makes the catch. Forced out by Darren Hughes, 27.
Little switch at positions that the BC Lions like to do. Matt Clark moves to wide receiver, the quick post, and then Darren Flutie just on the out there. Pretty simple pattern, but good results as Danny Barrett reads it. And you see the zone coverage in the inside halfback. Kevin Whitley can't get out underneath to cover it.
Gain is 8. 2nd and 2. Lions right on the 50 now. Barrett floats this one for Alexander. Sideline. Got it. Flag down. Hughes covering on Alexander. Looks like a 29-yard gain will stand.
Yeah, it's solid recognition for Danny Barrett. He had a desirable matchup there. Darren Hughes coming up to play bump and run on Ray Alexander, the much taller receiver. And
forward
the contact is created, and Alexander still able to hang on to the football. And gosh, the BC Lions are doing a nice job to try and answer that last score of the Argonauts.
4 catches, 80 yards.
Yeah, good night for him as well. I love the way Danny Barrett has spread it around tonight. It seems like every receiver has been involved, and he doesn't let a guy go a long period of time without catching a football.
He's calling a good game. He's trailing right now, but he has a chance to move into the lead once more. On 1st down, Barrett goes for the home run toss. Trevathan draws a flag. That was Kevin Whitley, number 6, covering on Trevathan.
Trevathan initially is wide open, and this ball is badly underthrown, but the BC Lions get a bit of a break here.
Pass interference. Number 6 on the defense.
Background as Kevin Whitley will create the contact, and he creates the contact because Trevathan slows down to try and adjust to the football. You know, that's funny, eh? You know, that ball is terribly underthrown. You get the interference penalty, and 1st and goal at the 1.
Argos have the lead by 4, but it's likely going to be very short-lived. 3 cracks at it from the 1-yard line for the Lions. Barrett. Well, there was a delay on the call. There wasn't much doubt about the fact that he had made it in on his first try. about down there?
Really have no idea.
Maybe he had to wait too long for the touchdown signal. Lou Pasaglia adds the extra points. The Lions regain the lead. A very impressive scoring drive by Danny Barrett, aided in the end by an interference call on the coverage on Mike Trevathan. Barrett into the end zone, and the Lions lead by 3.
Let's go back to that key play, the interference call on Kevin Whitley working on Mike Trevathan. There you see Trevathan with good inside position. Now, he is home free, but the ball underthrown. Watch how he slows up, and then the contact is created. And, you know, that becomes a fine line. Like, who initiates the contact? But Kevin Whitley overruns it because Trevathan slows down. The penalty's called, and, hey, that's the touchdown right there initially, essentially.
Yeah, the play after that, Barrett into the end zone. 68 yards in a time of 3:01. Zatilny for the Argos. Looks for the wide field. Lost the ball. Lions have it. I think Ty Jones came up with it. Lots of time to go, but the Lions get the ball right back. Zatilny here.
Well, the hand goes out by Tyrone Jones. He strips the ball loose, and I think it's Sean Foodie who gets the first crack at it. I don't think it's actually Foodie that makes the recovery. It doesn't matter. BC Lions have the football, and what an awful, unfortunate break for the Argonauts as Zatilny cannot hang on to it.
Loneliest guy in the ballpark right now.
Got everybody coming over to say, hey, Wally, it's okay. No problem. We'll get it back. Pretty interesting play by Tyrone Jones, though. You know, he couldn't make the tackle, but he did the next best thing. Stuck the mid in there and was able to scrape the ball loose.
In fact, he did a better thing. Another injured player, Dennis Meyer, out on the field yelling some instructions to his troops.
Well, both teams have played hard. You know, defensively, both teams have struggled at certain points in this ball game, but I don't think you could ever question the effort put into this game by both sides. Sure, it's not the prettiest defensive game you've had, but wow, each team has really picked it up a notch when they've had to.
Lions lead it 41-39. 38 rather. Barrett, Trevathan, 2 in a row. Right after the turnover.
Watch the pattern by Mike Trevathan. Now he gets to the outside. A little look back to the inside, and then post corner. Terrific throw by Danny Barrett, and Jonathan Wilson was beaten initially. He could never recover, and as he did last week in the Edmonton game, Trevathan comes up with the key touchdown late.
Mike Trevathan didn't make the previous touchdown catch, but he makes this one, having set up the previous touchdown. And it's a 10-point ball game at 48-38. Well, that was quick. After the turnover on the fumbled kickoff return, one play, 45 seconds. Mike Trevathan on the receiving end of the touchdown toss from Danny Barrett. 6th touchdown of the year for Trevathan. And a big celebration there. The high fives after the catch. It's a 10-point ball game. 48-38.
Well, guys, we've got 86 points scored here so far. The record for most points in one game, 111. Believe it or not, these two teams did it 3 years ago, September 1st.
Yeah, Danny Barrett has put up some great numbers tonight. 485 yards passing, but he's about 100 yards shy of the Lions' single game record for passing established by Doug Flutie. Numbers on Barrett, 25 of 39, 485, 3 touchdowns.
But the ebb and flow to this game has really been interesting to follow tonight. Toronto grabs a lead. Now all of a sudden, in such a short period of time, they trail by 10. They were ahead 38-34 at one time.
Zatilny gets another chance. Penalty marker. Face mask.
Yeah, it looked like Sean Millington came down on the kickoff cover team and tried to stretch Wally Zatilny's neck out a little bit.
Tracy Ham gets another chance to get the Argos back a little bit closer now, trailing by 10. He's had an impressive night passing, and he's also had 3 touchdowns rushing. Argos 1st and 10 at the 47 with the penalty tacked on. Bragantz is there. He leads the league in sacks. Coming into the game, he had 7. 3 tonight. A 7-yard loss created by O.J. Bragantz, who has been a formidable force for the BC Lions defense all season. Now 2nd and 17. Ham one-hopped that to the far side. Robert Clark was the closest Argo receiver. And the big defense of the BC Lions came up with good coverage on that play and a sack on the previous one. So the Argos will kick it away.
Now in his 3 years, O.J. Bragantz, there you see him leaving the field, has just been able to get better and better each year. He has got a nice lead on the quarterback sack totals throughout the CFL.
I guess you call that the quarterback sack race, huh?
Yeah, I guess.
No play for Philpott on this one. Rolling out near the 42. A 28-yard punt for Wayne Lamely. Well, special teams players down there getting into it. Actually, McAdoo's not solely a special teams player, but Spencer is down there.
Yeah, he took exception to Spencer McLennan, and as always happens, McLennan got the first shot in, and McAdoo got the second shot in, and that's who's going to get called. So he will put his team in a bind.
Major foul, face mask, number 19 on the kicking team. Major foul, face mask, number 16 on the receiving team. The penalties are offsetting, and it's first down.
Well, that's good. They saw it both ways, and that's good because they were both at fault there.
6:09 to play. We're in the 4th quarter at the stadium at BC Place. The Lions have bounced back with 2 quick touchdowns to establish a 10-point lead. More for Danny Barrett, more for Ray Alexander. About 8 yards. Barrett is closing in on a couple of CFL milestones. 25 of 39 for 485. Still a ways to go. Second and 2. Lions trying to run a little time off the clock with a 10-point lead now. 5:19 to go, fourth quarter. Trevathan, the catch, out of bounds, first down, right at midfield.
And with just over 5 minutes remaining, this is where the BC Lions have had some difficulty in their wins this year, is putting teams away. Late in the game, they have not been able to move the ball, and they've let teams slowly get back in and make some of their wins very interesting at the end. So it will be interesting to see the maturity process tonight for Danny Barrett and his offense. Can they control the ball and really put this game away with a 10-point lead?
48-38 as it stands right now. Lions with a first down at midfield. Into the final 5 minutes of the fourth quarter. Three receivers near side. Philpott takes the handoff from Barrett, and there was nowhere to run.
And on the other hand, for the Argonaut defense, they have to be willing to take some chances here to try and get the ball back. Try and strip the ball loose or make the key sack, cause a fumble any way they can. Because they're trailing by 10, 4:30 to go. They need to get the ball back quickly for their offense. I think it's gambling time.
2nd and 10 and a big down for the Argo defense in particular. Barrett trying to initiate a little movement. This is Clark. He's gone. Matt Clark.
And it's pretty much as I said, it was gambling time for the Argonauts. Jonathan Wilson, he gambles. He comes underneath, hoping the ball is slightly underthrown, but he cannot make the play. And Matt Clark with absolutely tremendous concentration to make that catch. And then, of course, it becomes the easy touchdown. The hard part was concentrating to make the catch. Good throw by Danny Barrett, who is having just a spectacular night. But Jonathan Wilson gambled, he lost, and that should just about do it.
A 55-yard touchdown toss from Danny Barrett to Matt Clark. Boy, the Lions have made some big plays this evening.
And I wondered how they would protect that lead with 5 minutes to go and leading by 10 points. They'd had difficulty doing that, but pretty nice job there. Danny Barrett leads his team to yet another touchdown tonight. And he's laughing. He's saying, hey, this is one of these nights when everything seems to go perfectly. You know, this becomes even more difficult than the pass pattern. I like that. You know, they did that on the last Trevathan touchdown. These two guys have choreographed this one nicely.
They've gone to dancing class, right?
Oh, they've spent some time to learn that move.
Three touchdowns in a row for the BC Lions. Wally Zatilny had problems earlier, fumbling a kickoff return, and that really got the Lions into the big lead here. 4 plays, 68 yards. The 55-yard reception by Matt Clark, the third straight touchdown for the BC Lions, who have opened what would seem to be a rather insurmountable lead.
Well, I don't think you can fault the defensive strategy of the Argonauts. They just were not able to execute it. Jonathan Wilson gambling and missing on the attempted interception.
It's 55-38.
It's been a fun game.
It has. Tracy Ham has played well. Danny Barrett has played a little better. Manny Hazard short of the first down, but not by much.
I think this is worth another look. I don't know what they call it.
First to smash.
I like it.
Yeah, in partnership, they've had a pretty good evening, haven't they? 4 for 65 on Trevathan's side and the one touchdown. Matt Clark, 6 for 143. Now, Ray Alexander hasn't exactly been a slouch out there either, nor has Darren Flutie.
Well, throw in Sean Millington out of the backfield.
Yeah.
Hey, I'd say your entire offense has done very nicely with the passing game tonight. Danny Barrett himself, right on target. You see 25 of 42, 579. And
closing in on that Doug Flutie mark then. 3 yards away from Flutie's team record of 582 yards against the Eskimos, October 12th, 91.
I think what's been as impressive to me tonight as anything is the receivers on both teams just making key catch after key catch. Manny Hazard, the injured player there, he has had an excellent night. So has Robert Clark, and of course the entire BC receiving staff. But all the players, I think you'd have to agree, have really come up with some pretty exceptional efforts.
Pleasant situation for the Lions all of a sudden, with Barrett coming back and having the kind of night he's having tonight, and Danny McManus having the great game against the Eskimos in Edmonton last week. Pretty exciting times for the BC Lions.
Well, I think it really is nice to find out that if you have to go to your number 2 guy, Danny McManus in this case, that he is ready to play. So I think the BC Lions last weekend got the best of both worlds. Danny Barrett didn't play, extenuating circumstance, did play a little bit late in the game, but Danny McManus certainly showed that he is very capable.
Now that's Danny McManus's throwing hand. He's got a thumb injury. He would have been able to play tonight, but that's how they've got him taped up for the game, and Barrett has had things well in hand, so McManus hasn't been called on. Tracy Ham, Wally Zatilny lost the ball. Lions have it picked up. This is Eddie Taylor. Now it's squirted loose again, and it's gone back to the Argos. Eddie Taylor had the fumble and then lost the ball. So it could have been worse for the Argos. Turnover here, and turnover going the other way. Zatilny lost it. Then Taylor lost it. The Lions very much in control at 55-38.
Play.
Flight out of Vancouver tomorrow. We'll pay the airport tax and get out of town to get to Winnipeg in time for the Eskimos and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. An 8:30 Eastern time starts.
And you know, as you look at the standings, pretty critical game for Edmonton. As BC will win this one, they'll move to 10 points. Of course, Edmonton with 6 points, so if they want to keep pace for second place in the West, they have their work cut out for them tomorrow night in Winnipeg. Bombers on a roll, leading the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, very big win for the Lions over the Eskimos last week, and I think they've taken the confidence they built from beating a very solid football team soundly on their home turf of Commonwealth Stadium, and brought it to this game tonight, because it was a quick start by the Lions that really set up everything for them here. And although they did have to come back, they have not really been way out of control and only trailed for a matter of about 30 seconds.
That's about it. Yeah. You're right.
2:42 to go. Tracy Ham is a long way back for the Argos. He'll try and get it a yard at a time.
It's funny, whenever I do a BC game, I always have a pregame walk with Dave Ritchie and have a nice casual conversation about him. He's always nice and relaxed just before the game, much more so than the day before, strangely enough. But I said to him, you know, in your wildest dreams, did you expect you would go in and dominate Edmonton at Commonwealth Stadium like you did? And he said, well, absolutely not. I mean, I was delighted with the result, but that is certainly something that you could never anticipate doing. But he said it showed me a lot about the kind of football team I might have on my hands here in Vancouver.
We talked a little bit about it in the opening, but 1 year ago after 6 games. The BC Lions were 0-6. This is an amazing turnaround to be 4-2 and on the verge of being 5-2 with a 55-38 lead and 2:35 to play.
Yeah, you know, they're a fun team to watch. I mean, they got some stars. They play well.
Tracy Ham on first down. Not quite. Plummer covering. Kip Lewis, number 83, was the intended receiver. .226 to go. 2nd and 10 Argos. They really have to keep this drive alive to have any hope at all of coming back. Ham stands in. Clark couldn't make the catch. He drew 4 BC defenders. Brigance was way back there. Francis was in the area. Foodie was there. And one more, and I can't make out the license number.
Well, it's unbelievable, the range of an O.J. Brigance. You're right. He was back there helping out in coverage, too. Sean Foodie comes in with the hit, and he's actually the one that knocks the ball loose from Robert Clark. But, you know, hey, that's tough. You know, the BC Lions are laying off. Toronto has to get down deep, and pretty tough situation. Somebody I haven't mentioned tonight a lot is Joe Powpow, the offensive coordinator of the BC Lions, whom Dave Ritchie says they would not be successful without him, and he put together a nice game plan tonight.
Here's Philpott. Talking about Powpow, he established a CFL record of 18 straight completions against the Argos September 22nd, 1979 at Old Empire Stadium. He was 21 of 24 on the night. Now watch Danny Barrett, a record possibility here this evening. He is closing in on the greatest single passing game in total yards, trailing Doug Flutie, who has finished second in 91, to Sam Echeverry's 586 yards.
I hope Danny Barrett knows that, you know, that he has an opportunity to do that and goes after that record.
He's not very far away, is he? 7 yards will do it. Make the catch here, and you've seen CFL history.
No, they call it out.
No.
To the best of my knowledge, Danny Barrett does not know, and knowing Danny Barrett, I'm not sure that he'd be too interested. I think he was more concerned this week with playing well, and I would have to guess that he has played well beyond his wildest dreams.
Yeah, he sure has, Gord. What a great night. But, you know, when a guy is this close with an opportunity to establish a CFL record, well, you'd like to think that somehow he knew about it and would decide himself then whether he wanted to try and attain it or not.
I'd go over and tell him if I was you, Gord. Minute 58 to go. Barrett 8 yards away. This is it.
That's it.
Sean Millington. He's gone a long way all night long. There is a marker back at the 35. It was a 41-yard carry by Sean Millington.
Holding number 55 on the offense after yards gained. It's 1st and 10.
So how many yards did he gain then before the infraction happened?
You are unbelievable. You don't see anything on the other side.
It is 1st down. 10 to go for the Argos. Barrett won't get a chance to throw. We're just trying to get the statistics straight on that as to what credit they gave Millington as far as yards gained before the penalty. Danny Barrett closing in on Sam Echeverry's record of 586 yards passing in one game. Echeverry set it in 1954. There's the score. The Argos were close, but the Lions scored 3 touchdowns in a row. Millington, a little shovel pass, no markers down, and that should put Barrett over the record for sure.
Danny Barrett took an awful hit from number 9, Jonathan Wilson, on the safety blitz. Looks as though he's going to be able to shake it off, but you're going to see a little quick screen once again to Sean Millington, but Jonathan Wilson delivers through with the helmet right up under the chin. Danny Barrett took that helmet of Jonathan Wilson right up under the chin. And
Mike Kerrigan of the Argos was injured in the opening quarter. Tracy Ham came in relief and engineered 38 points for Toronto. Now Danny Barrett heads to the sideline, shaken up on a safety blitz by Jonathan Wilson.
Well, watch the hit one more time. It's the helmet right up underneath the face mask and catches the chin, I'm sure, of Danny Barrett. He's all right. That's good news. Well, you got to like that, don't you? Getting a hug from the head coach, that's nice.
Yeah, coaches don't hug all the time.
No.
Third down with 1:08 to go. Barrett has this one safely in hand. The Lions will move to 5 wins against 2 losses, 2 points ahead of the Edmonton Eskimos.
Just to keep you posted, we are trying to get the official decision as to the yardage of Danny Barrett tonight from the CFL scoring people.
Yeah, it is a record leap. The pinball Mike Clemens brought down at the 45. The official numbers will read on Danny Barrett's performance tonight: 601 yards. Beating Sam Echeverry's record that has stood for, well, 40 years almost.
Well, that's some night for Danny Barrett. Our congratulations, obviously, to him, the entire offense, and that is something.
Barrett was within 7 yards of tying Echeverry's mark, and then there was a penalty after Sean Millington had gained the first down, so the official yardage had to be confirmed with the CFL statisticians. "55 seconds to go. A penalty being marched off against the Argos. Pretty good combination, Dave Ritchie and Joe Paupau coaching this football team.
Well,
and there are others, of course, but Paupau has been running the offense. And Ritchie, of course, is noted as a defensive specialist.
Well, there's no question in my mind that down the road, Joe Paupau would be an extremely good candidate for a head coaching position somewhere. Wonderful temperament, tremendous understanding of the game, both sides.
He's a hard guy to get along with, too.
There you see Joe Paupau on the left edge of your screen. Hard guy to get along with.
I'm kidding you.
Okay, a very gentle person and very knowledgeable. There he is. Great quarterback in his day. He calls all the plays for Danny Barrett. So when you see Danny Barrett's name in the record book with that 601-yard performance, maybe a little footnote should go to Joe Paupau because he made some tremendous calls tonight from the sidelines.
Used to call him the throwing Samoan.
That's it.
Into the final 55 seconds now. Not much for Tracy Ham left to do. Zatilny makes a late catch. Tracked down and tackled by Eddie Taylor. Lions offensive line has allowed just 9 sacks on the season. Solid for every game but one a couple of weeks ago. Conversely, the defensive group, 20 sacks, including 3 tonight by O.J. Brigance, who leads the league now in that category with 10. Add 1. Second for Kent Warnock. Four sacks in the night for the Lions, so that will be added to their league-leading 20-sack total for statistics next week. The Danny Barrett announcement is being made on 601 passing yards, a new CFL single-game yardage record. So here are the BC Lions on the verge of their 5th victory of the season. 5 wins against 2 losses. And even the Calgary Stampeders are a little bit closer. Lions just 2 points in arrears of Calgary. Eastern Division, it's a dead heat. 3-2, Winnipeg and Hamilton. Well, we'll follow the Eskimos into Winnipeg to meet the Blue Bombers. 8:30 kickoff tomorrow night. Eskimos at 3-2. One last gasp for the Argos. Out across the 40. Warren Hudson. Boom, it's over. Dave Ritchie. 5-2 in the season. Opening up a pretty good lead on the next challengers, the Saskatchewan Roughriders, at 4-3.
Yeah, of course, John, a game that I'll not forget for a long time. Danny Barrett with the new CFL single game passing record, 601 yards, and a real fun night to watch it, wasn't it?
It really was. The BC Lions opened up a rather commanding 3-touchdown lead. The Argos battled back. It was even at 31 in the second half. But then the Lions scored 3 touchdowns in a row, and there is the final at 55-38. Here we go with tonight's TSN Turning Point, brought to you by Armor All. Close game. And an error here. Wally Zatilny on the return for the Argos. The ball squirts loose. Ty Jones makes a big play. And the BC Lions go in to score there. That was all she wrote for the Argos in this one. A cash donation to the Coaching Association of Canada for the training and development of coaches in amateur sport will be made on behalf of TSN and Armor All. There is a fountain of youth, and we own the patents. Armor All Protectants. Fine night of a record-breaking performance for Danny Barrett. Here again, Gord Miller.
All right, thanks very much, John. Danny, first of all, did you know late in the game that you were close to the record?
No, not at all. I was just concentrating on the game plan, and that's how it all, came about and everything. But first and foremost, I'd just like to thank Jesus Christ who's first in my life. And I just want to thank my teammates, too. They did a great job catching the football and protecting, and we had a great game plan.
This has been a difficult week for you. I mean, the death of your stepbrother obviously weighed heavily on your mind. What was your mindset approaching this game?
Well, I just wanted to go out and remember him and just concentrate and try to just focus in on the game plan. He taught me a lot about the game, and I must set the record straight. He was my brother. Everybody keeps saying he's my stepbrother. He was my brother, and he was very close to me. And so I just wanted to go out and just play and just, do something for him, to remember him. And actually, the rest of the season will be dedicated to him. And I want to say a happy birthday, too, to Martha Jans in Calgary as well.
Danny, thanks very much. Congratulations on a record-setting night.
Thank you very much. But again, you got to thank my teammates, too. They did a great job.
Danny Barrett, 601 yards passing, a new CFL mark. We're back with more in just a moment. The CFL Live on TSN has been brought to you by Pepsi. Be young, have fun, drink Pepsi. And by Mark's Work Warehouse, clothes that work. There was a great deal of discussion before this game about how Danny Barrett would react to the events of the past week. Well, he reacted with a record-setting performance, 601 yards passing. And Danny Barrett certainly comes out in style against the Toronto Argonauts. Our next game is tomorrow night from Winnipeg, 8:30 Eastern Time, 7:30 Central, the Eskimos and the Blue Bombers. Once again, our final score, 55-38 BC. For John Wells, Lee Pedersen, and all of us at TSN, I'm Gord Miller. Good night from Vancouver.